Thursday, April 14th. We're outside. I hope it's as nice for you guys today when you do the WOD as it was for me. Can't predict these things. So what are we doing today? We're running, right? We're running distances, except for we're throwing something in. It's similar to what we did last week, which is a 1-to-1 rest ratio. Not something we've done a ton of in at Chester Springs CrossFit, but we've done it, right? Last week we were running sprints, we'll call them, so like 90% of our mile pace type of run. But after each run, it was only 300 to 200 meters, but after each run that we went hard on, we did a nice steady, even slow jog just to recover, right? A recovery pace. So we got the total distance in, but the pace wasn't probably our best. So this week what we're doing is we're gonna up the individual distances. So you will run more than 300 meters at a time this week, but you get a full rest after each segment, right? So it's 3, 2, 1, go. You'll run 200 meters, and you're gonna run that just like you will for all of these. What we're hoping is to be at a mile pace, like at your mile pace or better, right? That's what we want. So if you don't know your mile pace, or if you're not sure what, today's easy because you don't really need the pace chart because you either know what your mile time is or you don't. And so you just divide your mile time by whatever you need to in order to come up with 200 meters or 400 meters or 600 meters. So that's what we're looking for, to be on pace with a mile. In other words, you run a 200 meter so quickly that if we were to ask you to keep going and you kept up at that pace all the way for a mile, that you would equal your mile time, right? So for something like a 200 meter sprint, we would kind of expect it to be faster than your mile pace, especially knowing you get a full rest afterwards, right? So that's what we're doing today. A 200 meter sprint, not sprint, but like hard run at about your mile pace, a 400 meter hard run at about your mile pace, and then a 600 meter run at your mile pace. And we do that 3 times, 3 rounds basically, where after each run, you rest the amount of time it took you to do the previous run. My 200 meters today, taking me about 42 seconds. So every time I would finish a 200 meter run, I would then rest for 42 seconds. Let's talk about logistics. I found this super easy to just use my phone's built-in stopwatch, the one that comes with the iPhone, the one that has the lap button on it. So maybe you have something similar to that, but here's what I would do. 3, 2, 1, go, start your stopwatch. When you get back, you hit the lap button. And what happens? A new lap starts to elapse. That new lap on your phone, it would show lap 2. That's your rest lap, so to speak. So rest lap is what that is. And then you just keep doing the same thing, right? As soon as it's time to go, you just have to keep remembering to press lap on the start and then press lap again on the way back. And as that rest lap is elapsing, you can look at it and you can actually see like, okay, I've rested for 30 seconds. Okay, I've rested for 45 seconds. You wait until it says you rested the amount of time, press lap and go and go. Now, I might just be overcomplicating things. That's how I used it today. You could just, get as close to a 1-to-1 rest as possible. You can use any clock you want. You can do the whiteboard math. However, let's just go through the beyond the whiteboard expectations. Last week, we were not stopping running. We were doing a cool down rest period where we were kind of still jogging. So there was no time to stop and figure out how much time had elapsed. So when you went to fill in the workout and beyond the whiteboard, all we wanted was how long did the whole WOD take you, right? This week, you have time to stop and write it down. So this week, we want to know what your breakdowns are. So write that stuff down. You're gonna need to know it anyway for your rest period. So write it all down, plug it into beyond the whiteboard, and then when you do that, when you plug it into beyond the whiteboard, it will spit out for you total time running. And that's what we will write on the board at the gym. Total time running. Just knowing, of course, that if we were to double that number, that's how long the WOD was for us because we did a lot of rest, but otherwise. So last 30 seconds here, why are we doing any of this? The idea is just to get more comfortable holding a competitive pace at longer distances, right? So I'm asking you to like hold a full mile pace at for 400 meters, and then I give you a full rest afterwards, and we kind of work up to longer distances. You can expect, what do you think is happening next week? Probably 800 meters, right? Until eventually we can start to multiply it to be just a full-on mile and see if we can hold that pace again and basically PR or equal our best mile time, right? So this is basically a way to just say, hey, we know we're working up towards a mile or more, but for right now, let's just get more comfortable holding pace longer distances, right? And we'll, you know, oh, by the way, I have a vest on because, you know, we are training for a 5K, but I know not everybody's going to do that, but we are probably all going to do Murph, right? So whether or not you're training for a 5K or for Murph, if you have a vest and want to wear it, it can only help. And I wouldn't stop you from doing it unless you've never worn a vest before. Maybe it's not the best time to start now. All right, let me know if you have any questions.